Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. Well, let's move away from Ghana to Washington, D.C., where the spring meetings are ongoing and activities and policies of the IMF and World Bank generally are being discussed. George Biafe is assistant editor here at Joy News. On our business desk joins me live. Hello, George. Hello, George. Can you hear me? Okay, it appears we're having a bit of a challenge speaking with George. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, fantastic. So give us an update. We know that the Vice President, of course, is leading a delegation there. We know the Finance Minister is there. And we know a whole lot of things are happening there. Let's start with an update on the meetings going on so far.
Well, in terms of the update, what happened today, there was a press conference by the World Bank President, Jimmy Yong Kim, and also the Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Christine Lagarde. Now, let's start first with the World Bank President in his interaction with the press. I mean, there was a question that was asked, and that is coming from Joy Business, about the effective use of funds that are advanced to Ghana, and how do we ensure that if, for instance, maybe $500 million is advanced to Ghana to help grow or reduce poverty, indeed, it actually helps to do that. And the bank boss was actually trying to explain to us that they are doing everything on their part to ensure that if X amount of money is advanced to Ghana, they actually use for that purpose. So he was trying to assure us that all the structures are in place. You know, there's also the issue about the fact that there are too many eligibility requirements that Ghana has to meet to actually draw these funds. And what he said was that they're also working to ensure that the right things are done, because the most important thing is that X amount of funds are advanced to maybe reducing poverty in Cape Coast. Those things are actually recognized or actually realized, and therefore the bank is doing everything on their part to ensure that this is actually done. On the part of the Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, he also talked about the fact that what emerging economies and developing economies need to do to ensure that we actually guard against the challenges that they might have to go through as a country. So all those things are being done, and they are also trying to ensure that this will actually be recognized. So those were some of the things that have happened actually today. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Buhari has been having some engagement. There was a session today where he spoke about African universities and what developing economies can also tap into the global space in terms of knowledge. So in terms of happenings, that these are the things that are happening, and all of us are waiting for that meeting between the Vice President and Christine Lagarde, actually, which would mainly center on whether the program should be extended, right, or they actually committed and working to actually achieve that April 2018 deadline as a country, whether we have to extend it or indeed within the deadline that has come April 2018, Gipsy.
George, I know that you have access to some of these people, and sometimes you get to, bring us information from behind the scene. What is it that you're picking up? Did you get the sense that the discussion about the IMF deal will go in any direction as we speak?
Be out of the way. We need to get this one done.
If you can come again, I just lost out on it, please.
Right. So what I was asking is that I know that you can get access to some of these information, sometimes some of these information behind the scenes. What is what are the signals you're picking up? Are you picking any signals up that could point us towards a particular direction as to how the IMF deal, the Ghana IMF deal, will go after the meeting?
Well, when you engage the fund of record, their argument is that it might be difficult for Ghana to implement all those targets for the program and complete it in April 2018, and that there might be the need for the program to be extended. Okay. But when you look at the IMF clause and agreements and all those things, the IMF cannot force Ghana to extend the program. It should be from Ghana that, looking at all these challenges, they want to actually ask for an extension. So to encourage the fund itself, they are saying that they are committed, they are open for discussions, but it looks like might have to ask for an extension, because there's a lot of things that we are supposed to actually done by now. The Article 4 consultation is still on. Article 5 hasn't come on. There are funds that are supposed to extend to Ghana. There are structural reforms that should be put in place. And all those things have not been done, Gipsy. And for the fund, they think that it might be in the interest of Ghana to extend this program, but they cannot force it on Ghana. On the part of government, we are getting understanding that they people want to complete this program. This program has come along with a lot of restrictions. And they think that if even without an IMF program or even without an IMF direct provision, they went out and raised almost $2.2 billion. And they believe that that market confidence that they were all looking for has now been corrected. So why should we still stay under the program? And that is why they want to fast-track the program and ensure that they complete it come April 2018. But if you want to meet that deadline, that means that we have to do more of a crash program, and that could come with all its implications for the economy.
Speaking of the $2.2 billion, the finance minister you've been engaging the finance minister on that issue because of the kind of controversy it has generated, led by the minority here in Ghana. What were his responses about that issue, George?
On record, I haven't had an on-record interaction with the finance minister, so maybe we can set the record straight. There have been some engagement, but for them, they are surprised by what has happened because one bet on Franklin Templeton, that investor has been heavy in Ghana over the years, and the fact that this whole deal wasn't started in secrecy, and the fact that it was open on the floor, it was led by 3 transaction advisors, that is Barclays Bank, Stanbic, and then Strategic African Securities. This transaction was actually open to every investor. Now, there are lots of bets that are made, and it's left to government or this institutions handling this transaction to decide that depending on X, Y, Z, will pick the bet from that institution or the other institution. So they were surprised at some facts that were put out and the fact that in terms of transparency, this deal has always been transparent. And the fact that when it comes to this book-building approach, that was approved by Parliament some time ago. And therefore, they do have their requirements. So they do have the approval to indeed go ahead and do all these things. So it was more of a surprise. But some investors are also worried as well because of the controversy this has generated. And they believe that the facts are out there in terms of Franklin Templeton. They've been one of our biggest investors over the years, and it wasn't any connection of the Ken Ofori-Atta that actually saw this money actually coming in.
It'll be interesting to hear the minister's response on allegations of conflict of interest and the time frame within which the bond was opened and closed. People have raised all those concerns. So it'll be interesting to get him speak on record as you're there. But let me quickly wrap up this conversation with you, George, by having you take us through how the day has been for you so far and what we're to expect since the day is still young.
And the Vice President leading this delegation, he'll be involved in lots and lots of meetings, and we will be trying to capture all those meetings and bring to our viewers all the way in Ghana. Being the Vice President, there's been an engagement already this morning, and the other engagements that are also coming up, and we'll try our best to get all these engagements and let our viewers happen. But it will be very, very interesting thing we do because the Ghana delegation would also be meeting rating agencies, the ratings agencies, and don't forget our problems with them, the downgrades and all those things. And for all the investors I have engaged so far, they are surprised about the Vice President engagement or being part of this team. Shows more commitment on the part of government to actually address all the problems that they have in the country. So there'll be more of that. The institutional investors also has to do with this non-deal roadshow they are doing. He's also going to meet the World Bank President, Jim Yong Kim, about the bilateral meeting with him, and also that meeting with the Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, which will really center on whether Ghana is indeed committed or Ghana can implement all those measures to ensure that come April 2018, this program with Ghana can be completed.
Okay, thank you so much, George. But how are you faring in the cold? How cold is it, by the way?
The weather has been, it's a mix of spring. Sometimes a little bit okay, and sometimes very, very, very cold in the early hours of the morning and even in the evening. But we are managing this.
well, climate change has sort of changed the way it feels, even though we know what the season says. But do enjoy, and we will get back to you as and when you have any further information. George Rafe is assisting editor on the business desk here at Joy News, and he is in the Washington, D.C. for the spring meetings, bringing us update on what's happening there. Let's move on away from spring meeting in Washington, D.C., and we are back in the warmth. Okay, so some residents near Nungua barrier are accusing railway workers of selling portions of land very close to rail lines to squatters. They complain that activities of these squatters pose serious threats to their health and security. Joy News' visit to the area this morning revealed how the squatters have built very close to the rail lines and directly under electricity pylons. Here, 70-year-old Belgian Frans Stoops and Manasseh Oliver making those claims.
They are the main people who are selling the place to the people, giving them a piece of paper that is a certificate from railway.
Wow.
So, because of that, you see, it keeps going on. So I took the case to court. You see, when it's raining season, you see this place?
Yeah.
It will go straight to down there. You see a big gutter there. It will enter. But as they brought these people, now the line, the water won't go. It will enter our house. Sometimes they will
get flooded.
Yes. Sometimes they will ease themselves and throw it inside my house. Loud music. Sometimes you hear them fighting. When they smoke, they are listening. You hear them fighting with knives. I'll kill you, I'll do this. Some time ago, they fight around, let's say, 2 o'clock up to the next day. You see? Sometimes they will play music loudly. You can't even sleep. A few weeks ago, a guy came around claiming he's a chief. He said they should come to him, prepare a few money, and then schnapp for him. They will stay here forever. So they also prepared those things and went to the guy. So this has kept on going on. Now they have a guy who lives here. They used to call him Red. He is the one railway people have been using him to sell the land for the people.
These shacks belonging to squatters living along this rail line started from 1, moved to 2 to 3. Now they are in their hundreds. Residents living in this community say they are posing serious discomfort to them. What is more worrying is that they have the tacit approval of some unscrupulous persons working for the Railway Company Limited.
He said because of his services for the railway company, they offered him that piece of land and he is the owner. Say, oh, how is that possible? See, it can, in my opinion, I am not a Ghanaian, but I think it cannot be possible.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine that the railway company is giving away strategic ground.
Yeah.
Huh? Because they must be thinking not for today or tomorrow, but in 10, 20, 30 years when they are having very sophisticated railway system. Yeah. Then they have to, I do not know how they are going to do that. Yeah. Say I have my wall, and now the latest, let me say the small city that they built just behind my wall, it's maybe only 1 meter like this away from my wall. I cannot see the train anymore. I cannot see anything anymore. I'm not going to make a list of things they have stolen, and I'm not saying that these people have stolen it, but they stole 2 gas containers, and until I made some structure in the wall that the gas containers are safe now. But once blanket sheets, I have a king-size bed, blanket sheets disappeared from the laundry line.
And the man who is in that video talking to people joins me in the studio. Maxwell Agbagba is our reporter here. He joins us so that he can tell us what we need to know that the camera cannot convey. Maxwell, you're welcome. Let's give us an idea of how many people are living along the rail lines.
Well, we didn't travel the entire stretch on the right behind the rail lines, but I counted where we were. I counted almost 200
Wow.
houses. And the residents there tell me that day in, day out, you still find some unscrupulous, railway workers bringing some additional people, bringing more people. And according to the residents and per the narration that we all just, watched, they tell me that usually the railway workers, some of them give these squatters a piece of paper, and they tell them that, okay, so for this piece of paper, that is your land, certificate. So it means that you can stay here with this. The moment you have this, it means you have, you have the permission to actually stay here. As you also heard from the narration, there's another gentleman, we captured him on tape actually, who is parading as a chief of the area.
Okay.
And he went around telling...
Chief of the squatters, I believe.
No, chief of the community.
It's chief of the community, as in for both those legitimate residents and the squatters. Yeah,
but for him, essentially what he's doing is that he's going around and then taking money and then snaps from the squatters. And he usually will tell them that, okay, so when you give me money, you give me the snap, I would make sure I regularize your stay and nobody can move you from this place that you're occupying. And we heard, Manasseh Oliver, mentioning that. So it means that for some of the squatters who are living there, they think they have the permission and the express, legitimacy to be there, which is actually wrong. In fact, when you go there, the rail lines are actually very, very close to their buildings, about just 50 meters, apart. They are the shacks and then the rail lines about just 50 meters apart. In fact, when it rains also, there's heavy flooding in the area because previously what happens is that when it rains, the rainwater will just rush into a nearby gutter there. But that has stopped because the buildings have impeded the flow of the water. So anytime it rains, it gathers on the rail lines, and that can also have effect on the slippers and then the rail lines itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, but you've been speaking to some of them who
tell you so this gentleman that I'm going to introduce, his name is Sule Salia. In fact, the residents accuse him. They say that he's the one acting as the middleman, between the squatters and then the unscrupulous people, workers of the Ghana Railway Company, who are selling, off the lands.
Those lands.
Yes, but we actually have a video of him taking some people around.
Well, if we can see that video so that we don't just go on talking about the video and not showing it. So here is that video, and also what the people had to say about this middleman who is known as Red or Salia. So let's watch that video now.
You gave out some of the lands to the people to stay.
Not me give them. I know they work for trainway, so I don't get land to give anybody unless you see the trainway people before they will give you the land.
Okay.
And me, I go back them, say, oh, I need the place where I did it, they sack me, so make them help me where they give me for temporary, make I put my kiosk. At any time I can feel move.
You have a spot here.
Yeah.
You have a spot.
Yeah.
And then you sleep here also.
Yeah, I sleep here.
And then you brought some other people to also come and stay with you.
No. The other people, I don't know anybody where bring them. Only the trainway people, where them to they go see them.
Okay. So all the people living here, they went to see the railway people.
Yeah, now they work for trainway.
Okay.
If you go see the manager, then he go tell you, so maybe come, maybe kiosk. Yeah. So put but at any time, if you don't want to say they won't do something, you can feel remove them for them.
How much do you pay?
Oh, me, if I talk, I give them something, they like.
But the other people with them, some people talk me say they paid 500 cedis, 400 cedis.
And that one they said, and no be me man side, they be the trainway people, be my demand.
So who really is in charge? Who are the one room right now? Who have to go see? Awuni. Who is he?
He did the trainway last stop, the bus stop there.
Okay.
Right now he be the manager for the railway from Tema.
Okay, where in office day?
The day Sakumono.
Sakumono. Okay.
The my office.
Okay. So I'll go see him, I go give me something. He go give me place, make I can't stay.
Okay. Okay. If you go see them or if you ask anybody where you did the kiosk inside from here to anywhere, if you ask, they will tell you. Okay. If them or where did they go there, Sakumono, where they go see them. Okay. Where them to they go take somebody come.
Before they give you a place where you can stay.
Where you go stay.
So this gentleman actually indicates that he is not just selling up the land, so that there are people within the railway authority who are selling the land, so that it's not him.
Yeah, he goes ahead
we
to
have
mention,
to also apologize for the that video of the gentleman who is not ready.
Yeah, that
but
video
you can
is actually,
describe. Yes, you can describe the situation
that one is a separate video. So in that video, you see this gentleman, Sule Salia, who has been accused of acting as a middleman, you know, taking some of the squatters around, you know, holding in his hands a piece of, you know, paper, what they call the land certificate, taking them around and then showing them that, okay, so when you come, you put your structure here from here to that place. We have that video separately, and then later in the subsequent bulletins, you know, we'll put it together in a very nice report. And then
but then he makes very serious allegations against the railway authorities. Have we had any responses from the railway authorities?
Well, as a matter of fact, we tried very hard. We went to, he mentioned the Sakumono station and Tema station as well, the train station. We went there. We didn't find them. So as it stands right now, we're still working things out to get them to, you know, to respond to some of these allegations made by the residents. But in fact, we have Salia corroborating the story. He's not just a middleman, but also a squatter, you know, himself.
Okay, yes. So we can hear Salia as well?
No,
we had
Salia,
it,
yeah, exactly, that was Salia, you know, corroborating the story, mentioning the names of Mr. Patrick, Mr. Awuni. So these are the two people who are, you know, selling off the lands belonging to Ghana Railways Company Limited.
Okay. Well, information available to us right now indicates that officials of the Ghana Railway Authority who will be able to respond to these allegations are in a meeting at the moment and are unable to speak to us. But Maxwell Agbagba will be following up to bring you that update on this. Maxwell, thank you very much for that update. We'll bring you more on that story. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty Ando, up here.